Welcome to the Pool Nation podcast, where it's all pool talk. And we ain't talking about netting and jetting or splashing and dashing. We're talking about becoming a nation of pool pros. We talk about the latest products, trends, and training in the pool industry. Now let's welcome your host, with over a decade of industry insider experience and still the reigning champion of Marco Polo, Edgar De Jesus, and his co-host, John J.J. Flawless, the fastest netter in the West, and Zach the Pool Boy Nicholas.
Welcome, everyone, to the Pool Nation Live podcast. I am your host, Edgar De Jesus, and yes, I am the reigning champion of Marco Polo, along with John J.J. Flawless, the fastest netter in the West, and the famous boy, See, there it is, Ryan. Dang, I was on a mission here, right? So I had it, Zach, I promise. And the famous Zach the Pool Boy Nicholas. Today, we're talking to Justin Butler and Ryan Morson from Hayward, and we are celebrating Hayward's 100-year anniversary. That's incredible. Before we get started, I want to thank our visionary partners for this podcast, the SPPA, Blu-ray XL, Aquastar Pool Products, Natural Chemistry, Raypack, Heritage Pool Supply, Hayward Pool Products, Poolside Tech, Pool Brain, and Need Deck. We want to thank them for their continued support. Mr. Zacharias, I'm sorry, just right off the bat, and I botched it on you.
I was laughing during the intro because it does the whole whistle for me, and I'm like, has anyone seen me lately? I think we need to update the intro a little bit. I don't know if we still have the fastest netter in the West and the champion of Marco Polo.
Hey.
It's been a couple of years.
It's been a few years,
I'm
right?
still fast.
No, I just want to say, like, thinking about this on the way here, 100 years. Like, it's one thing to say 100 years, 50 years, 100 years, but if you truly stop and think of what an accomplishment that is, and think back like 100 years ago and everything that's gone on in the world. I mean, all the different world events, all the changes of technology. I mean, what kind of cars were they driving 100 years ago? It's really, truly an amazing thing to think about. So I'm excited to be here to celebrate with you guys and just say, happy birthday and congratulations on such a big accomplishment.
Thank you.
And it is crazy if you think about it. It was 1925. I mean, and just everything through the wars, the economy, all that kind of stuff. And not a lot of companies make it to 100 years. And I was actually doing a little bit of research, and I think it's like anywhere from 0.5 to 0.8% of the companies that do business nationwide actually reach 100 years. And a lot of them are like Coca-Cola and just big, huge, companies like that. So that's a huge milestone. So definitely happy birthday to Hayward. Yeah. Mr. Flawless, what's going on, brother?
Over here in Southern California, sunny Southern California, it's about 110 degrees today. It's going to be 113 tomorrow. Just living the dream. But, kind of just like what Zach was saying, we were talking on the phone before he made it over to the studio, and reflecting back a little bit on what he said, and talking about the accomplishment, right, of 100 years. I mean, that truly is quite the accomplishment. And it's funny, and this might sound a little far-fetched, but the reality is, if you really think about it, we've spent a lot of our time focusing, especially in 2025, talking about, financials, but scaling businesses and growing and starting from the beginning and moving your way up. And, Hayward, same exact thing, going from, a smaller company at the beginning, doing what they've done and growing over the years going from private into a publicly traded company, into becoming one of the big three in the industry, leading in many ways on many different fronts. It's just like it's the American dream, right? And I sit back and I look and I laugh and giggle sometimes when I talk to some of the pool pros that I have over the years, and how the frustrations they go through sometimes, and think of how insignificant they are, and think that I don't matter, or we can't do much more than what we've already done. But the reality is the possibilities are endless, and it has to do a lot with grit and focus and some good old elbow grease and some determination, and look what can be accomplished. So I'm looking forward to kind of going through Hayward's history, talking to our boys over here from Hayward, and learning a little bit about it. And hopefully the story can help inspire some of our listeners and some of the pool pros out there that are out there struggling every single day, wondering, if this can be, if they can reach the dreams that they once dreamt of. Hopefully this will help inspire them. So looking forward to it for sure.
Absolutely. Justin.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
We're excited to have you out all the way out from Florida.
Tampa, Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you always been in Florida?
No, I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland, where I met my wife in 2001, and then we decided that we wanted to sweat our butts off the rest of our lives and move to Tampa. So, yeah.
Awesome. Ryan.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
We're excited to have you guys kind of come out and play in the big state of Texas.
Happy to be here.
So we really appreciate it. Hey, before we get started, because we want to jump in really quick, there's a lot of things that we want to talk about. Hey, want to talk really quick, nominations for the Pool Nation Awards, believe it or not, not next Wednesday, the following Wednesday, nominations open. Oh, by the way, this is rude of me. So we have CT in the studio.
How's it going, everybody?
We have Lindsay. Hello. And we have Kurt.
Good afternoon.
Oh, did you see that? Wow.
Silky smooth.
Wow. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. John, I'm going to do that for you every time I talk to you now. John, my thoughts. So.
Finally.
So we have them in studio. Really appreciate you guys being out here as well. But Lindsay, believe it or not, the 18th, the nominations open for the Pool Nation Awards. We do have the nomination night, the announcement, which is going to be August 20th. And then the 21st and the 22nd of August is the Women's Summit, and we are sold out. So really kind of excited about that. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
So we sold out literally in 3.5 weeks. It's
fantastic.
Completely crazy. So we're excited about that. That's going to be over at Heritage. And then from there, we go up to the PSP Expo, where we have the $10,000 Pool Pro Challenge. We have the Pool Nation Awards on October 23rd, and then the Pool Nation Conference on October 24th and 25th. And then from there, we kind of focus a lot on the business side with the Pool Pro. So we're going to be doing a track of educational classes out there. And one of the classes that we teach out there is really kind of turning pools into profit and how to build a business and not a route. And really, it's kind of getting them to, from day one, to shift on that mentality that, I really need to focus on that profit from day one. And what does that look like, right? What does a profitable pool look like? And kind of create that profit mentality since day one.
Yeah, and then we'll have turn metrics into money, what your financials are telling you. And this is really going to go over kind of how to understand your financial data and use that information to make smart decisions in your business.
Yep. And then we follow up with know your costs, grow your profits, business math made simple for the pool pros. And, it just helps you, understand, learn exact formulas and methods to be able to price your services right and protect your bottom line. Winners keep score. And if you don't understand your numbers or have a good understanding of it, you're kind of flying blindly and don't really understand where you need to focus on as a business. So knowing your cost and being able to maximize on your profits.
Yeah, from there we go into financial planning and exit strategy. One of the things that we never talk about, right? At some point, we're all going to get old. We can't do this anymore. And how did we set ourselves up? And I think that's something big, with a lot of the pool pros, is kind of giving a little bit of guidance to be able to kind of set those things up.
Then we have profit is not cash, mastering cash flow to stay in control all year. And this is really just going to be helping people understand what cash flow is. And like Edgar has been saying, you can run out of profit sometimes, but you can't run out of cash flow. So.
And then going into day 2, our first class is going to be called the talent life cycle. And it's going to teach you about building skills for your business's success. It helps you unlock the full potential of your team by mastering the talent life cycle. We're going to go in depth of what that exactly is. But you'll learn to build skills at every level, helps you drive performance, foster growth, and create a thriving people-powered organization.
Yeah, from there we go into developing high-performing teams, right? A lot of those pool pros that are starting to scale, are starting to bring employees on, is really kind of how do you develop that high-performing team really where you can kind of lead and inspire your team and then hold them accountable so that you could reach, those business goals.
Then we have the power of partnership, cultivating true collaboration in your team. And so once you have that high-performing team, how do you work together? It's going to really help you understand how to break down silos, enhance communication, and just really build a culture where ideas flow freely and teams can be united to solve problems.
And then following that, my personal favorite is diving into time management strategies. We're going to help you take control of your day by maximizing your productivity. The course will introduce you into practical time management techniques to help you prioritize tasks, minimize distractions, and make every minute count in your day. We've all been there where we could have looked back and seen what we accomplished in the day and how much time we spent doing it. And if we would have planned just a little bit better, we would have been able to free up a little bit more time and been more productive and had and more successful. So time management.
And then we close it off with driving results through accountability, right? You could do all these things. You could put all these things into play. If there's no accountability, right, you're not going to get those results that you want. So anyways, everybody, we'll be talking about the registration for that coming up here pretty soon. I do want to do one thing before we jump on. Mr. Don Douglas is going Tampa, go Tampa. Brandon Withers. You guys know who that is? Yep. Brandon Withers? Yep. He's over here. He's over here giving shout outs. Hayward #1, baby.
What's up, Brandon? Thank you, Brandon.
Big shout out to Jeanette out there. And then we've got a couple other people on Instagram. Mr. Chris Marcano, thank you. Buildmaker, what's going on? Golden State Pools. Big shout out to all you guys out there listening. We appreciate that. So, gentlemen, let's get this party started.
Let's go.
So, Ryan, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name's Ryan Morson. I'm the VP of Sales here at Hayward. I started with Hayward in 2014, but my pool industry experience and time in the industry is far beyond that. I was servicing pools in college as a summer job, graduated college, and the only thing I had on my resume during that time was swimming pool cleaning. So I actually started with Pool Corp back in 2012, worked for them for a few years. I was a business development representative, BDR. Went to work for Hayward back in 2014 as a district sales manager of the Carolinas. So I did that for a few years, maybe 5 or 6 years, and then started doing regional sales for just a bigger area. Got to lead a sales team, toggle between product management, product development, and sales throughout that time. And, just recently, about in September, October of last year, resumed my current role as VP of Sales for the U.S. So been doing this pretty much my whole life. Chlorine's flowing through my blood, and happy to be here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So Justin, what about you?
Well, I started with Hayward in 2014 as well. I got started in the pool industry, like most of us, probably accidentally. Back in 2005, I was working for an aquatic theme park over there in Orlando, and buddy of mine that was working there was like, "Hey, this company I work for is hiring electricians. Do you want to come?" And I was like, "Absolutely not. Sounds horrible." And then it was going to be a couple of dollars more an hour than what I made. So I was like, "I'll be there Monday," kind of thing. And started off just wiring up swimming pool equipment and ended up getting my journeyman's license, which led me into service and repair. And then that brought me on to Hayward in 2014 as a tech manager.
As a tech manager.
Yep.
Now, I think Ryan was saying he's the only person. What was it, Ryan? He's the
only person ever in Hayward's history to be District Technical Manager of the Year and Salesperson of the Year. Yes. No one's ever done both.
No one's ever done both. And Justin has done both. He's been on both sides of the aisle and won the most prestigious award within both departments with our company.
Nice.
I'm pretty fantastic.
Now, what did you do as a technical? What were your responsibilities?
So the responsibilities of a technical manager is basically kind of like the after installation support of the equipment for the dealers. So troubleshooting, repair, kind of making sure that they're trained on how to work on the equipment essentially, and make sure that the warranty is taken care of in the area. If you got a network set up, things along those lines.
So was that all in the East Coast?
That was all in Tampa.
Okay.
Well, most of it was in Tampa. I did move up to Massachusetts in 2017 to be the tech manager up in New England for a while. Mm-hmm. And then I started on the technical training side of the company. It was national trainer for a while as well.
Oh, so
that's
you did
actually
training.
that's quite the
Right.
accomplishment if you think about it. No, it's usually it's one route you go down, right?
Yeah.
You usually got the
Right.
tech guys, right? You know what I mean? And they have no idea or truly understand the pains or the understanding of the sales portion of it. And then you got the sales guys that drive the tech guys crazy,
Yeah.
right? Because they're like, just get it done, or figure it out, and vice versa. But to be able to travel both paths, right, and to be successful in it, really arms you or puts you in a position to where you can see it on both sides of the aisle,
Yeah.
right? And then to be able to effectively help people, that's super impressive.
Well, thank you. And like growing up in the pool industry, before I worked for Hayward, I unfortunately, I wasn't the owner of the company, so I would have difficulty getting in touch with my reps sometimes. And I had one rep that would return my call and actually happened to work for Hayward at the time. And so it drove me to selling more Hayward stuff through the company I worked for, which ultimately made me want to work for Hayward and be the type of rep that I really never had. So it was just, I wanted to be there for everybody and be that one-stop shop for all of my customers.
So doing the technical, and then when did you move over to sales?
During COVID, 2021. So I left New England and moved back to Tampa during COVID in 2021. Yeah.
So you moved during
Baptism by
COVID to
fire.
go. Yeah, he moved during COVID to go sell.
Yeah, so they shut everything down in New England during COVID.
Justin didn't time that very well. Just saying.
So Florida was wide open. Nobody cared about COVID, apparently. It didn't exist there. So I just let's move back.
Let's go back, right?
Yeah.
So, no, that's awesome. Yeah, and just like John was saying, I think, and for us, especially where you see, a lot of people be able to really kind of help and really give good advice to a lot of pool pros, is those that have been kind of, Ryan, not making fun of you because you're in sales, right? But obviously to have that background and then to go to sales, that's huge, right? Because now you could talk about the product, but you could really have the good understanding and the headaches out in the field for each application, right? Because each application is different. So, so I want to talk a little bit about Hayward. Obviously, 100 years, we've been talking about it. That's huge within the industry. So let's go a little bit back to the beginning. Can you guys walk us through how Hayward got started back in 1925?
Yeah, I'd be happy to start that off. I mean, first of all, Justin and I are honored to tell this story. I mean, we haven't been here since 1925. Many people came before us, so we're honored to be the ones here and able to tell the story. So back in 1925, a gentleman named Irving Hayward founded a small metal valve and flow control business in New York. So he was a Scottish immigrant, came over to New York back in around that time and started the company. Hayward was originally focused on industrial applications. The company began to shift a new direction when Oscar Davis acquired Hayward in 1964. So really between 1925 and 1964, Hayward was just all a metal fabricator, metal production of metal flow control equipment. Back when Oscar acquired us, he shortly realized there was an opportunity. And back then in the swimming pool industry, everything was metal. Filters were metal, pumps were metal, a skimmer was metal, everything. So the first product we created was an ABS skimmer. So we had aluminum skimmers back in the 60s, and Oscar was the first person to pioneer a plastic skimmer. So you went from back then a aluminum skimmer costing $100, which back then was
huge,
$1 million.
Yeah,
it was a lot. It was a lot. So and sold that for $130, $140 back then, to creating the same skimmer with the same capability for $12. So he would make the skimmer for $12 and sell it for a lot more than that back then, but still save the end user money and create a profitable business. So that really started this paradigm shift throughout our industry to go from metal to plastic over the next few decades from there. So it's a really cool story because Hayward pioneered that, back in the 60s, and it really changed the entire industry back then. A lot of people don't know this. We're publicly traded now, but back in the 60s, we did IPO back then. For a brief moment. So Oscar put us on the stock market for a few years and then actually bought us back. He bought all the shares that were out being publicly traded back in the 60s. So that lasted a little less than 10 years. We were privately held from then until about 2017. So in 2017, Hayward was acquired by private equity. And so we were owned by private equity for only a few years. So we went from being owned by one person to PE. It was a couple of different companies. A lot happened during that period. We made a lot of acquisitions. We had a lot of changes of personnel and leadership. But between 2017 and 2021, we went public, which is where we are today. We're currently publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange. So that was back in 2021. We've been led, and Justin and I included, by a completely new regime since around that time frame. And Hayward has made a lot of acquisitions and a lot of changes since then. But we're in the best spot we've ever been. Our best days are 100% ahead of us. But it's been a heck of a journey, especially during the last decade.
That's right. And you've been with them for 10 years?
10 or 11, something
10,
like
11.
that. Yeah.
So you've been through a good ride.
Yeah, it was a heck of a ride. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm curious if there's an aluminum skimmer somewhere out there.
We have some. We have some at our plant. Yeah, I'll send you some pictures. Yeah.
So John, well, no, you're kind of,
I'm not that old.
yeah.
Come on,
no,
don't
no,
make
no,
me
no,
that, bro.
no. I'm not saying that you're old. I'm saying some of the pools, because where I was in Anaheim, I still had some, which was kind of
really?
crazy. Yeah. So
Aluminum skimmers, no, I've never seen them
and
before.
then the what was it, the Aquaflow metal pumps?
Oh,
Remember?
yeah.
And then you used to get, right. So once it would start leaking through the gasket, it was like you were screwed. You're like, there's no way that you were going to grab that metal and get it to seal again.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
Whenever any of our customers tell us they've seen one in the wild, because it still happens. It does still happen. We try to acquire it as quickly as we can. We have a collection of them in Clemens in our flagship manufacturing center in North Carolina, and we try to put them on display. It's almost like a museum.
yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really cool.
I'm not that old, John, but I did in my equipment, in my pools, because they were older pools, I had them. So, no.
So started with valves, and I want to ask, what were some of the earliest products or innovations that you feel really put Hayward on the map back in those early decades?
There's a lot of our history from that time where we weren't super acquisition heavy. We weren't super. We innovated by going injection molding, blow molding, and things like that. We focused on that for a long time. I would say in recent history, as in the last 20 to 30 years, some of the acquisitions and developments that I'm most excited about would be the Gold Line acquisition that took place back in 2004. That really changed, again, the industry and our business model, because we were able to obviously sanitize a pool with alternative forms of sanitization back then. And that really accelerated the entire industry from salt being the dominant form of sanitization on residential applications from trichlor. I think we were really back to the Summit heat pump acquisition we made back in 2008 that really got us into heat full on. We were kind of piecemealing heaters prior to that, and didn't really have an in-house solution for that, and that really put us on the map for heat pumps and all other ancillary heating types.
And we acquired Comfort Zone a little bit before Gold Line as well. That's for our gas heater line as well.
That's right.
That was a big acquisition.
I didn't know that you guys had gotten Comfort Zone. Oh, interesting.
So, if looking back, do you think there was a defining moment you feel that shaped the identity or trajectory of Hayward as a company?
I mean, in my experience looking back, I would say what really was probably a pivotal moment for us was during the recession. We had, everyone struggled during the recession, struggled to produce product and for various reasons, and really the industry shrunk holistically. A lot of our competition, a lot of the industry at that time was publicly traded. And fortunately for us, we were not back then. We were owned by Oscar. And so we had the opportunity to invest back then where we probably wouldn't have otherwise. And we really invested in OmniLogic and our OmniLogic family of products and automation back then. So during that time, we were able to dump millions and millions of dollars into this project and really develop it and get it right, knowing that we wouldn't even be able to sell it or see any kind of ROI for several years. And it really set us up and positioned us to be in a place where once we got out of the recession, we were able to launch that product family and leapfrog our competition and really show the industry a new way and a new platform that automation is capable of. It really set us up to create a future-proof system and enable us to build upon that for years to come. So I think that was a really, for Hayward and shaping our trajectory and kind of how we operate, I think that was one of the biggest defining moments that I can remember in history.
And that's really, and you take a look, right? And we're talking 100 years, right?
Right.
And I think and I've seen this with pool builders and pool service companies, but I think those companies that, just like you're saying, Ryan, when you come out of the recession, right, you're ready and you're ready to go. A lot of that really kind of only happens from experience, right? If you've been through it before. And unfortunately, when you kind of go through those recessions, there's a lot of companies that haven't had that experience, and then they just end up going under because they weren't prepared. And that just tells you, right? 100 years is going to give you a lot of that experience, and a lot of that will be fine. We can invest all these millions of dollars now knowing that we are not going to be able to make money. But guess what?
Right.
We have the experience that we're going to come out on the other side, and let's be ready kind of in order to be able to do that. And I think with everything nowadays, with all the economies and stuff like that, I think a lot of companies are just, they probably play it a little bit safe and they kind of stay back and let's just kind of wait. But I think that experience, and again, with 100 years gives you an edge that, hey, we've been through this before. We know what's going to happen.
Well, yeah, but you know what's great about it, if you really think about it, those types of times is when like bigger companies and stuff kind of like pump on the brakes real quick and start cutting costs and trying to figure out, how are we going to save this, or how are we going to, survive this, or do whatever they need to do. Where Hayward turned around and said, "Hey, look, no, this is our time to shine right now.
We're all in.
We're going to put the pedal to the metal, right? And we see this as an opportunity, not a crisis." And it gives you the upper hand so that you can build that market share. And yeah, you might not get the immediate ROI right now, but you're looking not for tomorrow, but you're looking down 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, or a generation down the road, by being able to seize on that opportunity now, where everybody else is in idle mode or in defensive mode or reacting. You guys are putting forward and making things happen.
Absolutely. Now, how has Hayward maintained relevance with pool pros and maybe even homeowners through all those years, right? Because 100 years, the times have changed throughout all those years.
Yeah, I mean, I would say just culturally, never stop innovating. I think we, no matter what, not to beat a dead horse, but we always think about new innovations, regardless of what markets are doing. Staying closer to the customer. I mean, we're a very transparent organization. When we have an issue, we're very transparent about it. We're very transparent about our lead times, our product issues, where we're strong and where we're weak. So I think those are the things that help us, enable us, stay closer to customers. We have a deep respect for the trade, and servicers, retailers, builders, any pool professional out there. We deeply respect what they do. A lot of us in our organization have been there in their shoes, so we really have a good understanding of what happens throughout their day-to-day lives. I mean, this business and this industry is built on relationships, and Hayward really prides ourselves with things like our partner summits and different events like PACE and our incentive trips and some of the plant tours and factory tours that we do on staying close to the customer and keeping our ear to the ground as best that we can, so that we don't ever lose sight of what's important and what's really happening out there in the industry.
Yeah, and I kind of want to piggyback on that a little bit and kind of talk about from the beginning, when we talk about like mission or philosophy. I'm curious to kind of understand what that original mission and philosophy was behind Hayward and how that may have evolved from then to now.
Yeah, I mean, one of Oscar's quotes that I think we would still quote today is just always be curious, always ask questions and be genuine during that process, and stay humble. And I think that we do that, and we try our best to practice that, and we talk about it during our meetings, and we bring it up in cultural team building events. And that's just one of the things we've stuck with throughout the decades, I think, and it's going to continue to be and to shape our culture for years to come.
I mean, that's pretty amazing. I mean, you're talking from the 60s.
Yeah.
And that today is still something that's talked about and instilled.
Right. And it's funny because I'm not going to take credit. So Tamara had the opportunity to interview 6 of your guys' team members. And I think within those 6 people, it was something like 182 years of experience. I mean, the longevity of every person that she talked to was well over 20 years. I mean, this was just absolutely crazy. And thank you to Tamara for doing that, and thank her for pushing me, right? Because one of the things that she always does is she's like, do your research, right? But it's amazing where most of those people talked about that and about that, curiosity that he was always kind of pushing to make sure that everybody was always asking questions to be curious, because he believed that that was really going to be something that was going to keep the innovation kind of coming in the industry.
Right.
And so to have it, what are we talking? 60, that was back in the 60s, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
And for you guys to still live that today. And it's something that big company, it's hard to have a big, huge culture stay when you're as big as you guys are, right? But for that to still live in the hallways is pretty awesome.
Yeah, there's definitely still a family feel resonating throughout our organization, despite the fact that we're publicly traded. It still feels very, very family oriented from those days. It still lives on.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Sorry, my butt got stuck on mute. I'm sitting there like, what's going on? Hey, so look, can you tell us a little known fact about Hayward's early days that most people in the industry wouldn't know? And I know you kind of touched, and I didn't know that they didn't start or in the industry or in the pool industry, and it was doing mechanical valves. But can you go a little bit more into that, or something else about Hayward, maybe from back in the day that would be interesting for us to know about?
I think a lot of people probably don't know that we still have our industrial business unit. We have a flow control division even today. So a lot of people don't realize that we treat it as a pretty much a separate business unit. You think of things like wastewater treatment, refineries, anything that you would do to filter water on a mass scale where it's not pool industry specific. Hayward still has a division. And it's actually thriving today. That it is still carrying on that original mission that Hayward set off to do, just in a much smaller way.
I did not know that.
Neither did
you know
I.
that, Edgar?
No, I didn't know that. I didn't do
cool.
that good of a research, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's pretty awesome. So do you guys run that like completely separate, or?
It's completely separate. It has its own business unit leader, its own general manager. It's funny when you go to our flagship manufacturing facility in Clemens, North Carolina. There's a section of the plant. It's a massive plant, so it's a relatively, to that massive plant, small section where it's flow control only. They have their own offices, they have their own floor space in our manufacturing facility, and their own sales and marketing team. But they're all within the same Clemens facility, so it's completely separate. We don't cross advertise, but what we've found is as pools become more complex and larger, we're actually pulling product from that business unit more and more frequently, which they may or may not appreciate. So,
but that's awesome to have that. But yeah, I didn't know that. That's actually pretty interesting. So do they, at that plant, do they just still manufacture stuff and they do all that?
Yeah, I mean, I would be not doing myself any favors to quote the size of the valves they make, but this big, the size of a car hood. They make very large equipment and valves and actuated filtration equipment as well.
Yeah. So, I was really impressed with Oscar Davis and going back and reading the stories with regards to the type of person that he was, the type of leader, the type of vision that he had. So if you had to pick kind of a little bit of a legacy from Oscar that he left behind, what do you think that would be?
Gosh, I mean, Oscar, I think, was always looking out for his employees. One of the things that surprised me most, I only overlapped just for a few years with the family, the Davis family. And, one of the things I can remember is how well they treated their employees and how much they genuinely wanted to know about our lives and how we thought about the business and our opinions on things. So I think that one of the things that it stuck with Hayward, and that still resonates with our company and culture today. But I just remember back in that time when they were still directly involved in the business, that I think that was one of the things I appreciated most about that family.
And I hear that they say, and even through the interviews, that he was the type of person that he would meet you for the first time and, hey, Edgar, nice to meet you.
Would.
And he would remember your name, from day one, and then he would never forget it again. And every time that he talked to you, he just knew your name.
Yep.
So,
absolutely.
And the other thing that in doing some research that I really appreciate, and I even wrote it down so I wouldn't forget, but it was really his golden rule, and that was that you treat people with kindness and respect, and in the same and at the same time, that's going to be passed to you. And that was one of his big things, right? Is know everybody by name and treat them, with respect, and that's huge.
I mean, and we talk about it all the time, and this is a people business. And John always talks about we're only as strong as the people we have, right? And so when you look at the length of time, 100 years, just going back to that, it's like that's the kind of stuff that makes lasting businesses. That's the kind of stuff that makes buy-in and creates culture and really allows businesses to be strong and stand the test of time. So I'm not surprised by that, honestly. It's really cool to hear all that, but it makes a lot of sense when we're looking at the big picture of it.
Well, and when you see companies that are successful, and you see companies that, again, 100 years, right? You build that foundation, and the companies are able to continue generation over generation to continue to do that is amazing. It's hard. I mean, over 100 years to keep that mentality within the company.
Well, yeah, for sure, because you lose sight of it, right?
Yeah.
And when it's smaller, it's easier, and as you get bigger and bigger and bigger, and money becomes plays a huge role in, unfortunately, in a lot of decisions that some companies and corporations make. And it almost like as a company grows, you tend to lose that personal touch, right? And not everything's so black and white. And in our industry, and just like every other industry, and like what Zach was saying, is we deal with people, and people are complicated, and people have feelings and emotions, and sometimes understanding them and catering to them and treating people right might not necessarily seem like it's I wouldn't say the best business decision, or at least on a profit perspective initially, but in the long run, when you make those deposits and you build those relationships with your people, and you have people like yourselves right now, Oscar's not with Hayward, right? And everything anybody talks about, right, is his legacy and what he's done and what he's created, and it's still being taught and used today, right? So I wish I've never had a chance, or I never met him. I wish I would have had the opportunity. I'm very impressed with being able to remember names. I can't even remember Edgar's name. That is impressive. So when I heard about that, yeah, and when I heard about that, I was like, wow. And I remember faces very well, and not maybe very well, but it's more of to a point where I think I met him before, you know what I mean? Not, but but as far as like being able to remember everybody's name, that is truly, truly impressive. But anyways, I wanted to talk about Hayward, and you guys have been known in the past and currently, where you guys are really drivers of innovation in the industry. And as far as like variable speed pumps, automation, especially with the new with the energy efficiency with the new pumps that when they came out, what product innovations in particular over the years are you guys most proud of?
I mean, I would say like currently I'm pretty proud of the OmniPro app that we came out with about last year, maybe the year before that. We started releasing that app. Essentially, what that allows the customer, the dealer, to do is to configure their Omni system, which was already relatively simple to configure, but they can now do it from their phone. They just connect that Omni to the internet. They can sit in their truck, sit in their office, and just configure it from their phone. It takes maybe 2 or 3 minutes to run through a full configuration. But what's even cooler about it is it's the only app that I'm aware of where you can save your existing configurations from other pools that you've set up and just push them to other swimming pools if you have the same equipment on them, same setup and everything. If you have a customer where they lost all their stuff from like a power surge or whatever, have to replace a board, you can just push that configuration right back out to the system, and it takes seconds to configure it at that point. We also give them a dashboard on there. They can take a look at every single pool they have access to, and whether it's online, what the water temperature is, if there's any error codes, like it's all on one page. It's fantastic.
Yeah, one of the other things I'll mention is I was in product development and product management for a portion of my career, and it was kind of at the tail end of all the DOE variable speed pump regulations. One of the things Hayward always thought and planned on doing and accomplished was to always stay ahead of where the DOE requirements were. Whatever Energy Star or the Department of Energy required, we always wanted to not only meet it, but exceed it by a lot. And so that's why when you go on Energy Star's website, we're the first few pumps, if not several pumps, on their page as far as weighted energy factor is concerned, because we beat those minimum requirements by so much. That's actually segued into one of our most recent launches, which is OmniX. So our OmniX is essentially decentralized automation and controls. We have our first product out right now, which is our variable speed pump lineup with this capability in it. So that just allows you to create a mesh network at the pad, decentralized control, and create an environment where you can, even one piece at a time, automate the equipment set. And that's actually something we launched maybe a few months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read about that. That's pretty neat. And it is like an Eero system or like a little mesh system, right? And each unit has its own wireless capability without cables, and they talk to each other. And I think you guys even have like a retrofit kit too for older equipment. That is very interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing that and seeing how that plays. But it's like almost getting rid of the automation completely, right? Or getting rid of it and being able to simplify it in a way where it makes it extremely user friendly. One thing I want to say, and I know you guys didn't talk about, but personally, I can say for Hayward and one of the innovations you guys have done out in my area, we have a lot of salt systems. It's very hot out here, and we're big believers in salt systems, and 90% of the pools that we take care of have salt systems. And the T-cell has always been the tried and true salt system, for us that we've used. And recently, just over the last few years or a couple of years, you guys came out with that new S3, right? And being able to do, for me, taking something that was already the best, at least in my opinion, and from the pros on our pool, from our Pool Nation Awards too, the service pros feel the same, but to take that and create something that's even better with that S3, I mean, that's all that we personally put in, being able to, still work in conditions where, the salt is at as low as 800 parts per million to all the way up to 8,000 parts per million. Because, one of the frustrations was always, you go back there, and if you're not within that sweet spot, within 2,500, 2,700 parts per million, at the very lowest, and you know what I mean? And you're not, obviously, hopefully your pool's not the Pacific Ocean, you know what I mean, at like 8,000 parts per million. But, just to know you have that ability to where it's able to still be able to chlorinate. And, we've had them now for the last couple of years, and they have been just bulletproof for us. And obviously the technology's been there, but Hayward stepped up and said, hey, look, we can do this, right? And we can make this better when, some of the other manufacturers are still, doing it the old way. So I love, that was my favorite innovation from Hayward on for my personal opinion.
Yeah, that was one of those where it was a great example of voice of customer. I mean, we literally got customers in a room, said, how can we make this better? And the number one complaint was the range. If you're not dialed in on the range, the salt system doesn't work effectively, if at all. And so we went back to the drawing board and figured out a way to really dial in and expand and widen that range. What's really also neat about it for me, like personally, I think when you put liquid chlorine in a pool, you have enough salt to actually generate chlorine with our cells now, with down at 800 parts per million.
Wait, what?
So yeah, there's enough salinity in liquid chlorine to actually generate salt without physically adding salt into a pool in most cases.
Well, you got to remember, every time you put a gallon of chlorine in, you're putting a pound of salt in the pool, right?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
you are adding, it is essentially a salt pool.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it doesn't produce quite as high, right?
Correct.
At that level,
Yes.
but
Right.
it is
still.
definitely no, but
Yeah.
I can't tell you, it is the most
Mind blown,
frustrating
right?
thing. Walking into a backyard, right, and you have everything's good and perfect, and it's in the middle of summer. Pool water out here is 95, 96 degrees, 98 degrees sometimes, depending on the location and the color of the bottom of the plaster. And then the salt cell went out, right? The day after, you know what I mean, or salt levels dropped or got a little dirty or whatever it may be, and then you're in a whole heap of trouble. Where with the new salt system, you know, it like we have never had an issue, right? Never had an issue. And then the little things like clearing up the, you know, doing the clear case on it so you can see through it and see how dirty it is.
Just really quick.
You know,
Yeah.
those are, and you know, those are the little things that, you know, maybe, you know, us as end users or as the pool pros, you know, we really appreciate, because those tweaks and those changes are really to benefit us, right? Or to help us do our jobs better, you know? And in turn for you, all it does is, I mean, it creates more cost, you know, but you see the benefit in it, right? By listening to the people that buy your products and making these changes and making it easier for them to be able to use your product and be more successful
Well,
when they do use it.
especially in like Gulf Coast markets. You know, we had 9 inches of, if I'm remembering correctly, we had 9 inches of rain last May, in May alone.
Jeez.
So it's nice to have a little bit of a buffer zone where we're not constantly walking back and everything's green because we just slightly fell out of the range.
Yeah. So John, there's no Fridays where, oh crap, I'm down in salt. I got to drive back to the store, get some salt, coming at it. Right? There's no more Friday
like,
calls.
Oh, yeah, it's like, oh, I don't have to lug, you know, I mean, 120 pounds worth of salt in the back. You know,
You're welcome.
On a Friday.
I'm good. I'm good.
Here's the other thing to think about, because I know with salt systems, we get a lot of the newer pool pros that come in, and there's always that fear, right? We don't know how to manage this salt system, and once you learn it, you're like, oh my God, this is like very simple, very easy. But we have to remember there's a lot of end users that don't have that experience when they start. And when you give them that small of a range, it makes it difficult because they don't have the knowledge and you're closing that. That must have also stopped a lot of warranty calls for you guys because
You have no idea.
So, but that's, I mean, when you start to innovate and you start to think about that,
Right.
as a company, you have to think about those things and go, how can we solve this problem, right? Especially if you could go, hey, we get, and I'm making stuff up, like 10,000 calls a month on these salt systems and all it is that we have to educate them. That had to be huge.
Yeah.
Well, and temperature plays a factor too. So sometimes
Yep.
you can fall in and out of range because water's a little bit colder, right? You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily reading the salt, reading the conductivity of it, and you know, but if it's still able to produce, you know, and like, hey, salt's actually good, or you know, you're within just 500 parts per million or whatever. It's nice to have that buffer and to know that, you know, the system's going to be working and it's going to make it happen.
Yeah, it's also had major benefits for us in markets that use a lot of sandstone or materials around their pool decking that are more
I was gonna say
susceptible
that
to
next.
salt.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean it
Yep,
really
as far
has.
as like erosions and stuff. People says, "Hey, oh, I can't have a salt pool
can't,
because
yeah.
of that."
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Literally, I have a pool that we weren't able to put salt in because of that, but now I'm able to have the salt at like at 1,000 parts per million,
Right.
you know, which is already where it's at because we've been adding liquid to it, you know, and we're able to put that salt system in and not have to worry about it. Right. But yeah, it is a game changer when it comes to that. And I'm glad you brought that point up. I was going to end with it. You know, it opens up more opportunities for you as a business to be able to provide that experience, you know, because, for us, it's a win-win. I don't see why we don't have salt on every pool,
Oh, just even the cost.
Yeah.
For real. I mean,
especially nowadays.
In a perfect
it's the
world.
experience, the cost, the amount of money you save on chems, servicing it, being able to, to clean them, charging to clean them, charging to replace them, install them. And then at the end of the day, it's more of it's a better bather experience for the client or the people using the pool. So it's a win-win all around. And we're big believers in it.
I had two things. One, I'm going to give out some shout outs over here for some people that are chatting with you guys. But the other thing is, I wanted, how many years have we been doing the awards?
5?
4 or
We're
5?
going on 5.
4.
Or
This is going to be our fifth.
Yeah.
This is going to be our 5th.
Yeah.
So your guys' salt system has won Salt System of the Year every year since
wow.
the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I was saying. Like,
Yeah.
you take something that is already the best, right? And clearly the best, and by popular opinion, right? And application. And then you take it and you just make it better. Instead of saying, okay, that's cool and that's good enough. Good enough is good enough. It's not. And you pushed the envelope and you listened and you created something that was better, and it's very beneficial.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, big shout out here to CNC. Big shout out to you. CN is on there. Benny, big shout out in Atlanta. Supreme Pools, big shout out. AE Services, what's going on? Super Clean Pool Service. Reds Bar, D. Miller, what's going on? Sergio Pools, what's going on? Tule, big shout out to you. Give me a call. SCP in San Jose is saying we have new Hayward reps in the Bay Area. We can feel the traction already.
Thanks, guys.
Who's out in San Jose? SCP, tell us who's out in San Jose. We're gonna give those guys a shout out. Jen Melee, big shout out to you. Jay Sand, A Delgado, Thomas, big shout out to you. Mr. Pool Envy, Nicholas, J Money, what's going on? And this is a good one, Saucy 797, big shout out to you. That was a good name. So big shout out to you, Jay out there, and then our boy Corey Holland, big shout out to you out there. So and then it looks like you guys have somebody that must know who you guys are, but the problem is it's his name is Woods M3N. So anyways, big shout out to all you guys out there. So let me ask you guys. So, we talk about, let's do this. We've been talking for an hour already.
Wow. That flew by.
That really flew by. So
Yeah.
let's do this. We have a couple other questions. Well, we have a whole bunch. I'm not even sure we'll be able to get through all of them, but we have a whole bunch of questions we want to ask you guys. Let's do this. Michael, let's take a word from our sponsors. When we come back, we will continue.
Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. U.S. Motors Neptune Variable Speed Motor provides a versatile replacement solution for all your pool pump motor needs. This motor can communicate with pool control systems, provide low voltage options to work with time clocks, and can be installed as a standalone pump motor. The Neptune motor can be easily installed on existing pumps, upgrading them to a variable speed pump without the need for replumbing. Enjoy energy savings and quiet operation by installing a Neptune Variable Speed Motor today. For more information and to find your local distributor, visit usmotors.com/pool. Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
Aquastar's new pipeline cartridge filters, available in 2 sizes, deliver top-notch hydraulic efficiency along with best-in-class filtration performance, approaching that of DE filters. Uniquely designed, open pleat spacing means 100% of the media square footage is usable. And these claims are backed by NSF test results. Designed with the pro's time and comfort in mind, the patented double locking system improves safety and ease of access, making filter cleaners faster than ever before. Available now. Ask your supplier for pipeline filters today.
Natural Chemistry, a leader in specialty water care solutions for over 30 years, is proud to provide products that make pool service easier than ever before. Its unique enzyme formulations in Pro Series Pro Blend improve efficiency of your pool program while reducing frequency of filter cleaning and scum lines. Natural Chemistry is also well known for its wide variety of phosphate removal solutions that include a non-clouding formula in Phos-Free and extremely high-range removal with Pro Series Phos Remove or Phos Free Max. Save time, save money, save work with Pro Series products. Stop sacrificing durability or efficiency with the help of Raypak's new Avia HD models that utilize NITEC, their exclusive industry-first technology. NITEC heat exchanger technology is Raypak's latest solution to superior strength and maximum efficiency when it comes to residential pool heating. With 900% more nickel compared to copper nickel in critical surfaces, NITEC creates an ideal surface to protect against scale formation and erosion without compromising on Avia's 84% thermal efficiency. Learn more at raypak.com/NITEC. The next evolution in lighting is here. Universal Color Logic 2.0 from Hayward. The latest in pool and spa lighting was designed with you in mind, making installation a breeze. Upgrades include a detachable cord and first-of-a-kind adjustable lower catch to overcome variations in plaster thickness. As always, Universal Color Logic lights retrofit into virtually any in-ground pool or spa while delivering industry-leading, vibrant color. Visit Hayward.com to discover more.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Pool Nation Live podcast. We continue our conversation, our celebration out here with Hayward, 100 years old. John, you said you were feeling about 100 years old yesterday, right?
I do. I definitely feel 100 years old.
Actually, was it yesterday that you were saying, "Oh, I felt good. I went half of the stairs up, and it was good."
I feel that way, and today you say I look that way as well with my graying beard.
No, I never said that you look old. I said that your beard is gonna. But guys, tell me this. Look at John on the TV. Look at that beard right there. Does he not have like a big, huge, like Santa Claus beard?
It's
like
impressive.
If it was all white,
it's
right?
Impressive. Yeah, I think you should go all in.
We should strive for that.
You should go all in. John, Pool Nation Awards, all white. Are you in or are you out?
White out.
No, you out?
Yeah.
Come on, John.
I'll do it.
You'll do it?
Yes.
I'll do it.
All white?
Yeah, I'll do it.
And then we'll put a little Santa hat on you.
Yeah, hey.
And then here, look, Janie can wear a Miss Claus dress for the awards, and then there you go.
Yes.
Is that our
People will be talking about it for a while.
I agree.
John, if you go all white, I'll shave my head.
Perfect.
Was our theme this year Christmas in Vegas?
Yeah, I guess that's what we're doing. Christmas in October.
Yeah, we can do that. Where we have our backdrop and we do all the pictures, right? We can just sit on Santa Claus's lap and make a wish. Or what do you want for Christmas?
You had to go there. You know what? Christmas is over, John. We're done with Christmas, buddy.
Boo.
Boo.
Okay.
Lindsay.
Boo.
Hey, thank you.
All right, your work is done, Lindsay.
Yep.
That's all I was waiting for.
Yeah.
So, hey, big shout out to Maria from Ensenada Pools. Taz, big shout out. Fabrizio, what's going on? Big shout out to you out there. MZ, what's going on? And by the way, Jen Melee is going, hey, Justin, which I know that you
What's
know.
up, Jen? Chris, how you guys doing?
So, how do you know them?
Because they are actually in my territory, and they were pool boy. Chris was pool boy of the year with Pool Guardians a few years ago.
Pool guy, yeah.
Yeah, pool guy of the year.
Yep.
And so I got to meet up with him and supply all of the Hayward goodies that he wanted.
That's
everything.
right. That's what I'm talking about.
Pretty exciting first time meeting them.
Yeah, they're great people, aren't
Absolutely.
They are great
they? Yeah,
people.
we love them.
And Chris is the pool boy of the year.
Yeah.
I thought it was pool boy of the
He
year.
is pool boy.
He's the pool boy?
Oh yeah. Chris is a pool boy.
And then they won Truck Wrap of the Year. Was it last year that they won the Truck Wrap of the Year? So
Yeah, finally.
he was fine. He was funny because he was in that one for like 3 years and he didn't win it. And by the way, I personally thought one of the years he should have won it. Right? I'm not gonna say what year, but then he won it last year. So and by the way, he let us know it too. Okay, he thought he should have won it a long time ago, right? I think he went up on stage and he opened up and what did you say, John? About time?
Yeah, finally.
Finally. So he's saying, what an awesome day, my pool boy. That's Jen to Chris. So big shout out to Chris out there.
Yep. So I want to talk a little bit about impact and just kind of get your guys' thoughts on what role do you think Hayward has played in shaping the modern pool industry?
I mean, I think that we're taking huge strides in training in general. Like, part of our job as a salesperson or a tech manager or somewhere out in the field is, obviously driving and building those relationships with the dealers, as helping them build their business as well. And that could be anything from getting them the right marketing material or getting up to our facilities to show them what we're doing and that we're building everything in the USA. But we're investing millions of dollars into the training aspect of things, and we're building hubs. We have one hub here in Dallas, and we're building another 4. We'll have 5 hubs open by the end of this year. The next one is slated to open up in the Tampa area. But, in those classes, people can come and learn pretty much everything there is to know about the pool industry, not just hands-on technical training. So we basically want to help them build their business, build their trust in us, and just be a relationship that they can rely on.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say I'll bolt on to what hubs are. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
huge investment for Hayward. It's a non-manufacturing facility that is just strictly for pool pros and the trade in local markets that we service and serve. And so those are we've opened up our first one in Tampa. We've got a few more across the Sun Belt opening up this year. The Sun Belt meaning like Florida, Texas, California, Arizona, Georgia, and other states. But we really have had wild success with the one in Dallas, in this area where we are today. But, you know, bringing in the trade and, you know, a lot of the times it's about Hayward and Hayward equipment and best practices in the industries. But a lot of the other times it's, you know, just business training. A lot of the stuff that you guys talked about opening up the podcast today, we do a lot of that at our hubs as well. So it's a training center, and it's strictly for the trade within the pool industry.
Can we talk about those a little bit? Because I feel that we always talk and we always kind of go very high level with those hubs, okay? And I'm going to go back and say something. So we're very, very, very passionate about helping pool pros be successful, right? If you look at Pool Nation, that's our mission. Everything else falls to the wayside of that. And so we've always believed that there's not a lot of investment in training to help the pool pros. And always all these companies are going, we want the pool pros to be more professional, right? We want them to be better. We want them, but there's no tools out there to be able to do that. And I understand that when we talk to companies, it's an expense, right? And for you to go out and train somebody, whether it's on your products or their products or business, right? You're teaching them about business. You're spending your dollars to teach them about business. But that's our mission, right? So when you guys first talked about opening the one out here in the DFW, that was huge to us because that's music to our, that's what we would love to see from without the industry, that we could look at every corner and just go, every company is committed to helping the pool pros, because that's how we're going to elevate the industry.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we're all going to make more money. That's how everybody's just going to be professional in an industry. And so you guys have gone out and, again, I'm going to say the same thing. You get into a situation where, you know, the economy is what the economy is, and people are kind of watching their spend. But for you guys to come out and we were talking, and I don't even know if we could talk about some of the buildings that you guys are opening, because they're freaking big. These training centers are not 2,000 square feet. Like, some of these are going to be big, right? And for you guys to start opening them all across the U.S. and putting footprints in all of those markets and spending money on all these trainers, right? That's very hard to put a quick ROI to. Oh, if I train 3 people, I get $5,000 worth of sales. It doesn't work that way, right? Let's talk a little bit about that. And then specifically, right, what kind of trainings, when it does come to the hands-on training, what kind of training is that they're getting, and what does that look like?
I mean, as far as the hands-on training is concerned, I mean, they're getting the most extensive training we can offer without having it in a backyard. I mean, with the one here in Dallas and all of them, we're able to, if you want to learn how to work on gas heaters, we're hooking gas lines up to these heaters, able to fire the heater and troubleshoot it 100%. Same thing with automations. Like, when they come to one of those hubs, it's not, you know, your traditional training, you have like 10 people standing around one automation and they're just kind of looking at it. Here, we have 10 people, we have 10 automation systems, and they're all going to get their hands on there and be able to learn and just be one with that unit and just get comfortable with it, because it's all about comfortability.
Yeah. And at the facilities, I mean, you guys have, and Kurt's here, so Kurt could probably talk a little bit about it. But
I think he should. He's a critical
you
part
have,
of opening.
I mean, you have the heat pump and the chill pump. I went out there; it was completely connected. We turned it on, and within 20 minutes, we had dropped it. I don't know how many degrees,
down to 40 degrees.
Yeah, and it was down to 40 degrees by the time I left. I mean, that was just completely crazy. The heaters, like you're saying, completely hooked up where they could be worked on 100%.
Yeah, you know, we develop these trainers like Matt Dozier, who, you know, runs our training here.
Right.
We call him our MacGyver, right? We are creating training materials that the industry hasn't seen before. The ability, like, you know, Justin said, a heater that's actually got not natural gas, but, you know,
Propane.
Yeah, not even propane. It's like nitrogen or, you know, just gas that makes it work. So you can set off error codes. You can do all the things and really learn in the field what it's like to troubleshoot a heater. we do refrigerant training. We do all the things you need to troubleshoot all those things in a way that I don't think the industry's seen before. I think what's also important is that it's always available. We don't do it like, hey, if you want to have training, call us. We'll have somebody go by this office and do your training for you. We have scheduled training on automation, on heat, on best practices, plumbing. We've done rail license training, but it's always available. You can go to our training site. You can register. We do 3 trainings a week. We do training 3 to 4 weeks a month, 50 weeks a year. So it's designed to be continuous, available, so the trade can do it at their convenience. And whenever you want to get trained, we're going to be there to get you trained and help you get better at your job.
Absolutely.
Go ahead. It's so important, and John talks about this all the time. It's the long game, right? I mean, you start planting that seed, and you might get someone in there that's just, a single operator. They're very small, but who's to say in 10 years, if they learn all these skill sets and have all these resources, they won't be the next company out there with 2,500 pools on route and building a bunch of pools. And I think from the past, it was something that we were very passionate about because it wasn't always there. But I think it's just more and more seeing things like you guys are doing. It's like planting that seed and making that investment into these people for their future growth is such a big deal.
That's right. Yeah. I always say all big companies started out as small companies, without exception. And one of the things that, just a kind of a funny side note about the hubs, thanking our finance friends at Hayward, because to prove an ROI out, to open up a training center that doesn't sell anything is not an easy accomplishment. So
you did it.
Thank you,
was
finance.
Definitely a challenge.
Thank you.
Yes. And you know what? I'll even give a big shout out to Kevin, right? Because it gets approved, Kevin, all the way down.
Absolutely.
But that's huge to us, right? When you guys did that, we were excited. And I know how it is. It's just like you're saying. It's like, how do you prove the ROI,
exactly.
right?
But we did it anyway.
Well, and I'll just say, Hayward was our leadership team was completely behind this from day one.
For sure,
I say it was tough. It's only tough to kind of explain it, but once you what's the end game look like? What are we going to do? We're going to change the hearts and minds of people around who we are at Hayward and what we're willing to do to help make the industry better. And that's what this whole mission is all about, really.
And I think a lot of the pool pros nowadays are a lot more open. Maybe it was COVID. Maybe it's a younger generation that's coming in. But before it was like, I'm going to play on this side of the fence and I'm not going to cross the fence. The reality is you go into a backyard and, one pool has this equipment, the other. And so you as a pool pro, as a repair guy, you have to learn it all, right? And also, let's be realistic. If you guys get somebody in there that is new, you give them the tools, right? Like you show them how to wire something, you take those fears away from them, they get used to what you're training on. They're going to buy what you sell, right? I mean.
And then talking about, like Zach mentioned, like planting the seed for future development and everything, something that we've done recently is, Haywards partnered with the Florida Swimming Pool Association back in Florida, obviously, and the Future Builders of America, where every year we get together with them during their summit and we teach about 150 high school kids about swimming pools and swimming pool equipment and all the different aspects of that trade and everything as well. So we're trying to get as many people interested in the swimming pool industry as we possibly can.
I love that. Yeah. Come down to my area and teach some high school.
That's actually really awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Think about it, because I don't know of one high school kid or anybody in school or, that aside from being in the pool industry ever says, what do you want to be when you grow up?
A pool boy.
I never wanted to be a pool boy.
I want to be Zach. I want to be the pool boy.
It just doesn't happen. And it's either like a legacy thing or you fall into it because that's where you grew up through it, or you just completely fall into it. You know what I mean? Out of the blue by accident, you get into the industry. Nobody actively seeks it. But and a lot of it is because they just don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
And, we are it's a very lucrative industry. The opportunities for growth, you get in what you put in, you can become as great as you want, make as much money as you want. You can live a very comfortable life and be very successful in it. And then the complexity, it's challenging as well too, right? And so we need more and more of this. And I didn't know you guys did that. That is pretty
That's
friggin'
pretty awesome. Yeah.
going out there and saying, hey, look, there are other, why, you know,
Opportunities.
yeah, there are other
Yeah.
opportunities out
Yeah.
there where you can grow on, in our trade and be very successful. Not just putting more, investing in our future and generations to come. And,
Building.
and it goes to like the hubs and the training centers. And I think, Justin, you were talking about, like, at the beginning when you were there and you had that relationship with your Hayward rep, and how that got you to be loyal to them. And it's, yes, that's how it works. We're
That's
very
exactly how it works.
relationship-based industry, and I have a similar story, and I've talked about it from the very beginning. When I started about a decade ago, it was with Jandy, and only reason why at the time I was selling a lot of Jandy was because that was the only rep that I knew or that I spoke to, and we built a relationship, and that's just how it works.
Yep.
And the same thing goes with the hubs, right? And the money and the millions I'm sure you guys have put into these educational facilities and the trainings
And
is. I'm saying, what were you gonna say, Edgar?
I was saying it's funny because it's the truth. So I was always a Hayward guy, and it's because Rod Carpenter, which was one of the warranty guys that I met, and he came over, and I used to ride with him for free on Mondays and say, teach me what it is. And he connected me with all the guys from Hayward, and then from there on, it's like, but those were the people that were giving me the support.
Yep.
Those are the people that were giving me the training. So what was I going to put in?
That's right.
Absolutely.
You should see how many automations we put into those damn vacation rentals in California with Rod, because
that's how it works.
and that's so that's great.
And you can go from different areas, right? And and just like the comment that was made in chat about San Jose and the North Coast, or Northern California, and how Hayward is making a big jump there.
Yeah.
You're only as good as the people that work for you, right? And the relationships that are built from the reps to the service pros to the builders to distribution and stuff like that. Having people there to help the pool pros is what helps guide their decisions in which way they go. And having these hubs available, right? These new guys or new gals, or even veterans that are going to actually been able to go to a place and learn, or actually have some formal training on how to do something and how to do it properly, and then also learn about features and innovations that they might not have known of, that that you guys have to offer, simply because the way they learned was from trial and error, right? Or because they learned this way because the guy they bought the route from, or the person they work for, this is all they knew, right? And 9 out of 10 times it was probably the wrong way, or they're not doing it properly. And they don't venture far from there because it's a lack of confidence in education. So they stick with what they know.
Yeah.
It's human nature.
And
so,
and here's the thing, John, you should see these hubs. I mean, you guys have done. So one of my biggest pet peeves, and if you want to make me angry, tell me that you want us to do an education, and then tell me it's going to be in an SEP in a warehouse somewhere or next to the chlorine. It just
in 100-degree heat.
It just drives me absolutely crazy. We're trying to tell these people to be professionals, but yet we're sticking them in a warehouse somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
And the ones that you guys are putting together are phenomenal. Like, I mean, these are, when we talk about doing something like Pool Nation, that's exactly how they are, right? They're built with a thought process of, we're bringing professionals in here, right? They're nice, they're clean. You got stations all over the place. The environment, you've got the pads that are set up. You've got the separate room with all the heaters and all that kind of stuff. It's just, they're really done really, really well.
Yeah. And then when they go there and they train, right, they get to see, I'm sure everyone that walks in there that goes through the training, they learn stuff, and it opens their eyes to the possibilities of the backyard and what now they're able to offer their clients, right? And it becomes, one, they become the solution maker. They'll be able to provide solutions and be able to sell these innovations to the customer so they can have a better experience, in turn create a better reputation for themselves, right? And then now they have the confidence to be able to do that type of work. And then I promise they're not going to forget who taught them that, right? And if it was Hayward that taught them that and showed them that and opened them up to that, they are going to feel confident with that, because not only now do they know how to do it, right? Because you taught them or you opened their eyes to it, but they also know that they can pick up the phone and talk to somebody or walk into one of these hubs, right, and get the support and help that they need, so that on the back end, if any questions arise, that they have the full support of a company like Hayward, that has their back. So
I could
yeah,
I could
it
totally
doesn't.
see John. I
Yeah.
could totally see a pool pro not knowing how to do something and just knowing where it is in DFW and going pulling over and just kind of going in really quick. Kurt, hey, how do I do
we
this?
absolutely have
Do
walk-ins.
you have that?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
all the time. Well, number one,
that
we're kind
is
of close to some
invaluable.
distribution offices, right? So guys, yeah, they'll pick something up and they'll go, "Hey, man, I got this thing going on. Let me go to Matt. Let me talk to Matt real quick," and they'll pull right in and like, "Hey, man, can you help me out with this thing?" And there might be a class going on. Maybe it's a quiet day, but yeah, we're always there. It's open, it's there, and there's absolutely it's a resource for our customers, for the trade to just continuously get better. Absolutely.
Hey guys, we need to keep an eye on the time because there's kind of two things that I want to talk about, and I want to make sure that we obviously hit on them. And so I want to go back in a minute, and I want to talk about that OmniX. I want to talk a little bit in detail. So I'm kind of watching the time.
Yep.
Want to talk really quick. I know you're very passionate about it with regards to your guys' manufacturing. Can you talk about that for just a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things I think we probably could do a better job telling our story, and I think that's something we're working on. But I mean, something I'm personally very proud of at Hayward is we are a U.S.-based manufacturer. We always have been. We always will be. We started in the U.S. in New York. We're now we moved to New Jersey, and now we're currently in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is where our headquarters is, and our headquarters, our corporate office is based there. One of the things about Hayward is we truly are producing our own equipment throughout the country. We have plants throughout the entire United States. I mean, in no particular order. Our flagship plant, which is where we do the vast majority, if not all, of our injection molding and blow molding, that's in Clemens, North Carolina. It's about an hour and a half north of Charlotte. We make our pumps, our filters, and pretty much all of our skimmers and other white goods and extraneous fittings at that facility. We make our own heaters in Nashville, Tennessee. So we actually manufacture our own heat exchangers, our own gas heaters, heat pumps, everything from the ground up. We roll form our own steel. We manufacture the exchanger. And that's just something that I think a lot of folks may not know about Hayward. We make our own automation systems. So we actually have a facility in Providence, Rhode Island. Rhode Island. Thank you, Justin. Thank you. Where am I? So in Providence, Rhode Island, we manufacture our own salt systems. That's where Goldline was based, and kind of just kept that location after that acquisition. We make our own lights there, salt systems, automation, and various other pieces of equipment. One of the things that stands out to me for that facility in particular is that our motherboards are made there. They're not sourced from somewhere else. We actually print our own motherboards. It's one of the most fascinating things I've ever seen in my life, where you see people and machines making the motherboard from scratch. And so all of our motherboards that go in our equipment actually say Hayward Industries on the motherboard themselves, because we make it from the ground up. So I think are
those kind of robotic?
A lot of it's robotic. There is actually some non-robotic activity happening still, but the vast majority of it's automated over there. It's fascinating, and they do it in a very relative to some of the other size of our manufacturing facilities, a very small footprint. They're able to accomplish that in.
How long have you guys been doing those?
Oof, I mean, at least since the Goldline days. Goldline kind of got us into it. So I think that acquisition took place in 2004, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So at least since then, and I think we gleaned that from Goldline. So most of our components and motherboards are made there, especially in our salt systems and controls.
So did Goldline already do that? Were
Yes.
they doing theirs,
Yes.
and then you guys?
We learned from them. That's right. Yeah. So that was one of the things that I think really put us at an advantage when it comes to just domestic manufacturing and controlling our own destiny there. And I just think I can quote this fact today: 85% of our product is manufactured in the U.S., and our goal is to get into the 90s before the end of the year.
Yeah. Now, where are all the different plants?
Yeah, so we have two main distribution centers. So we have one in Phoenix, Arizona, and then we have another distribution center near Clemens. It's in a town called Moxville, North Carolina. And the plants are Providence, Rhode Island, Nashville, Tennessee, Clemens, North Carolina, and That's it.
Well, we make all of our
Everybody points at Justin.
I'm like,
Go,
and Justin, go.
our
Yeah.
cat controls are made.
I knew I was
in
forgetting
Rockville.
something. Yeah, cat controls in Rockville, Maryland, and we just
make
acquired
Paramount
Chlor King
over there in Phoenix as
yeah,
well.
Yes,
Yeah.
but Chlor King was a recent acquisition for us in my home city of Atlanta, Georgia. So they're actually based there as well. They make like the big monster UV
Yeah.
systems and salt chlorine systems, generating systems. They actually make a next gen offline chlorine generator, and they inject pH neutral chlorine into the pool using only salt. So it's a pretty cool process. Story for another day.
That's
but
the one I've seen.
Their
that one.
manufacturing facility is in Atlanta, and that's 100% U.S. made as well.
Don't forget about flow control, also made in USA.
Yes,
in
well, I
Clemens.
include that in Clemens, but
I
yes,
know,
yeah,
but-
yeah, fair enough. Flow
Either
control in
way,
Clemens.
that next gen, guys, is the one Eugene that millions and millions dollar pool that he's got.
The
He's
big
got he's
one.
got like 3 of them set up there.
with the vault.
Those things
with
are
the vault, yeah.
incredible to look at. I mean, they
They
come on
are.
this massive cart, and it's
Yeah.
a just plug and play, self-sustaining system.
Yeah,
And I mean, it's literally magic.
yeah.
It saves you from toting truckloads of trichlor or cal hypo tabs into
Yeah.
the pump room throughout the year with nothing but salt to maintain that pool.
We were doing some videos, and he's kind of we're supposed to kind of be walking past it and stuff like that, and he's like, "Oh, and here's these next gens," and I just like I stopped, and he just kind of kept going, and I'm like, "Wait a second,
Yeah,
let's talk about
yeah.
this a little bit before you do the video over here." So, no, that's absolutely amazing. I didn't know that you guys did those boards. That's legit.
Yeah, it's one of the coolest things I've ever personally seen as far as manufacturing is concerned. It's something that's really not common in any industry in the United States, but
Yeah.
especially not the pool industry.
Yeah.
So,
So what I hear you saying is that you're going to invite me, John, and Zach over to see it, right?
did I not say that?
is
Yeah,
that
that's what I
right,
meant
John?
to
Did
say.
you hear
Yeah,
that?
Yeah.
I heard
Yeah.
it.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Lindsay, can you verify? Can you confirm?
What am I verifying?
Boo.
My turn to say boo.
So, guys, I do want to talk about something. I want to come back. You guys were talking about it a little bit. I want to talk about this OmniX.
Me too.
Can you go a little bit more into detail on that? Are you guys able to share some of that?
We can share
Some of it?
high,
Some things,
high
right?
level.
High level?
Yeah. So I mean, like I said a little while ago, we do have pumps out with OmniX capability, and essentially our long-term vision for this is that all of our equipment will include this capability within it throughout the next few years. So today we have variable speed pumps with this capability. Out of the box, you're able to communicate with this pump directly with your phone when you install it without an internet connection. It's a direct connection. That pump has a mesh network included within it, and you're able to link it up and use the user interface of your phone through our app when you're in generally close proximity to the backyard. Over time, we're going to launch more products towards the end of this year. I can't say exactly what, but more products, and a lot of them that will have the same capability. So they'll actually communicate with each other. So hypothetically, if we were to have a heater with OmniX included within it, and the pad already had a pump with OmniX included within it, that pump and heater would talk to each other and also talk to your phone, enabling you to automate those two pieces of equipment at the pad right out of the box. It's all automatic, it's all instant, and it all seamlessly communicates. You can connect the equipment to the internet.
Mhm.
So we do have a very inexpensive piece
Gateway.
of equipment, the gateway. Thank you, that allows you to. It's twice you've helped me.
Yeah.
It allows you to connect it. That just plugs into a router and wirelessly communicates just like a typical Wi-Fi system would. But essentially, the long-term vision is once all of our equipment has this capability,
Mhm.
you'll no longer have an automation system as we know it today. You won't have a panel hanging up at an equipment pad, and you won't have a centralized system. It will all be decentralized, mesh network controlled.
And like what I think is really cool about the Bluetooth mesh network is like, especially with that gateway, is when that gateway can see one piece of equipment, it's okay if that other piece of equipment is 50 feet down the house because of windows or whatever, and because it'll pick up that through that Bluetooth gateway or mesh network. So, you can see everything. It's fantastic. Like I have been beta testing the OmniX pump for the last year and a half at my house.
Mhm.
And I don't even have a pool. I just took the pump and stuck it as far away from my house as I possibly could. So I had maybe 100 feet line of sight to that pump, and I could pick it up with my phone, no problem, through Bluetooth. It was fantastic.
I just sat here and had a realization. It's the end of an era. The mechanical time clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or no more.
No more, right?
I mean, everything.
Those mechanical time clocks have been gone. You need to get back.
Not in the Houston market.
I was going to say,
old country.
You know what it is? It's John lives out in the country clubs.
Yeah.
You know, he lives out in the,
Old
you know,
country.
to where we're at, where we have all the timers and still the intermatics with the free and the freeze control type thing. So the way you're talking about it, and the only thing that comes to my mind is that what was the movie The Avengers, where Tony Stark goes up and he goes, "Wake up," and the whole thing kind of comes up on the screen. That's kind of the vision. Obviously, you get rid of the automation, right? So it's just all, you know.
And it also allows homeowners the opportunity to automate their pad one piece of equipment at a time. You know, so not everybody can afford to automate all at once.
Mhm.
And so as the equipment needs to be replaced and reaches its end of life, you can actually just do one pump, one heater, one light over time as these products become available, and just start pulling those items into the app's ecosystem slowly, but one at a time over time. So it really allows people to get into automation that may have not been able to afford it otherwise.
And so for the pool pro themselves, so will they have access to all this to be able to see it as well and program it and do all that?
It's very simple access. I mean, they'll have access to the OmniX app, and essentially, if they're walking up to a pool pad that they've never been to before, this customer happens to have an OmniX product, they can go onto their phone and click on Add a Site, and they can just push the button on the product, and it'll pop up and give them temporary access for 24 hours. And they can actually request permanent access immediately from that site. It just sends an email to the owner of the equipment, and they can decide whether they get permanent access or not.
And you guys are, and tell me if you can answer this or not, but obviously you're planning on doing that like everything, right? So everything like lights, actuators, just everything would.
That is the long-term vision.
Right, the
Yes,
long-term vision,
yes.
yeah, to have that.
You're giving away all our secrets.
Oh, no. Michael, cut that part out. No, I'm just kidding.
It's not all secrets. I looked at it.
It's all over ChatGPT in the dark web.
Look, you have a YouTube from Hayward, right? That says that shows a heater, shows a heat pump, shows the little system. It's, you know, it's kind of not necessarily saying it, but it's telling you that, hey, all this, and even the salt system as well.
We're very excited. We're very excited about
It's the future. It's the future for sure. We're excited.
Oh, no. Somebody's in trouble. That video wasn't supposed to be up. Who's in trouble? Lindsay, who's in trouble?
Myself.
Yourself? Why are you looking at CT like that? Like it's CT's fault?
Because I would be the one that would get in trouble.
And as John mentioned earlier, we'll have all the retrofit kits available. So, like, you know, with the OmniX pump, if they have an existing like XE pump, they can plug in the module on the back of that, and now it's OmniX capable, and they've got that OmniX platform in their backyard already at that point. It's very inexpensive upgrade. And we'll have upgrades for everything.
That's pretty cool. That's awesome. Hey, guys, let's do this. Let's take our final word from our sponsors. When we come back, Zach, John, I want to get your final thoughts. We'll be right back.
Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. U.S. Motors Neptune Variable Speed Motor provides a versatile replacement solution for all your pool pump motor needs. This motor can communicate with pool control systems, provide low voltage options to work with time clocks, and can be installed as a standalone pump motor. The Neptune motor can be easily installed on existing pumps, upgrading them to a variable speed pump without the need for replumbing. Enjoy energy savings and quiet operation by installing a Neptune Variable Speed Motor today. For more information and to find your local distributor, visit usmotors.com/pool. Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
Aquastar's new pipeline cartridge filters, available in 2 sizes, deliver top-notch hydraulic efficiency along with best-in-class filtration performance, approaching that of DE filters. Uniquely designed, open pleat spacing means 100% of the media square footage is usable. And these claims are backed by NSF test results. Designed with the pro's time and comfort in mind, the patented double locking system improves safety and ease of access, making filter cleaners faster than ever before. Available now. Ask your supplier for pipeline filters today.
Natural Chemistry, a leader in specialty water care solutions for over 30 years, is proud to provide products that make pool service easier than ever before. Its unique enzyme formulations in Pro Series Pro Blend improve efficiency of your pool program while reducing frequency of filter cleaning and scum lines. Natural Chemistry is also well known for its wide variety of phosphate removal solutions that include a non-clouding formula in Phos-Free and extremely high-range removal with Pro Series Phos Remove or Phos-Free Max. Save time, save money, save work with Pro Series products. Stop sacrificing durability or efficiency with the help of Raypak's new Avia HD models that utilize NITEC, their exclusive industry-first technology. NITEC heat exchanger technology is Raypak's latest solution to superior strength and maximum efficiency when it comes to residential pool heating. With 900% more nickel compared to copper nickel in critical surfaces, NITEC creates an ideal surface to protect against scale formation and erosion without compromising on Avia's 84% thermal efficiency. Learn more at raypak.com/NITEC. The next evolution in lighting is here. Universal Color Logic 2.0 from Hayward. The latest in pool and spa lighting was designed with you in mind, making installation a breeze. Upgrades include a detachable cord and first-of-a-kind adjustable lower catch to overcome variations in plaster thickness. As always, Universal Color Logic lights retrofit into virtually any in-ground pool or spa while delivering industry-leading, vibrant color. Visit Hayward.com to discover more.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Pool Nation Live podcast. John was messaging me during the break, that he wanted to do a sexy version of Happy Birthday to you guys.
All
so
right.
we'll kind of leave that for the end, John. So yes, John, we'll
Thanks,
be able
John.
to do that.
All right, John.
His face is priceless.
We go from Santa Claus to Marilyn Monroe or what?
Yep.
I can
Santa
see his
Monroe.
beard
You
getting
know-
whiter.
Santa
Wow.
Monroe.
You know what today is, John, right?
Huh?
You know what today is, right?
It is Friday.
It's Friday, baby.
It
So
is
there you go. It's Friday. It's Friday. Hey, really quick before we jump back in, I do want to give a couple shout outs out here. Mr. FP Rado, big shout out to you. Dolly, Diana Pazmino, what's going on? James, Jeremiah, big shout out. H2 Outdoor Living, shout out. Nicole, Oliver, Garrett. There's an Aaron here, but I don't know if that's your guys' Aaron. It doesn't
I
look
think
like
it
him.
is.
You think it is?
He
Is
said
it-
he was listening.
Is it Aaron 2528?
It's got to be.
Aaron T 2528.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
I don't know.
So if
It's
not,
an alias.
if not, we can make fun of him. Yeah, that's his
Burner
his
account.
burner account. Hey, Charlie Tango, beyond excited for OmniX. Make my dumb pool pad smart.
That was me.
Uh,
Great. I love that.
That's a good
Yeah.
one. And then Chris Melee jumped on, and Chris is
nice.
saying Justin Butler, and he gave you like 17 different exclamation marks over there to the end.
Are we sure there were exclamation marks and not fingers?
Yeah. And then Big Kahuna Pools, big shout out to you out there. And then let me come back over here because, by the way, if I forget this, I'll get fried. So let me just kind of come back really quick. And Megan Hightower, that sounds amazing for the OmniX. And then Misty said, I can confirm you're on. So I don't know what that means.
Thanks, Misty.
Hayward partner Renato, Hayward partner here in Peru. And then Rich is saying, sign me up for the training. I need more hands-on. Rich, I sent you a message. Send me your info. I will pass that over. And then, oh, by the way, the one that I made fun of with the weird name, That was Matt Dozer.
Oh, nice.
Fitting.
And then a big shout out for Nola all the way from Louisiana. Big shout out to you guys out there. Thanks so much for listening and tuning in. And Alexa, big shout out to you as well. Guys, anything that you want to talk about that we didn't ask?
Thanks for asking. Yeah, I think there's maybe one or two topics that I just want to make sure we're telling the world about because we're excited about it. We just revamped and overhauled our entire website, Hayward.com. It's been completely updated. It's much more easy to navigate. It's got a lot more information and content for our customers. And I'd love for everybody on this podcast to check it out. Also, Hayward Rewards. We have our loyalty program and our incentive program for our customers. We've completely overhauled that in parallel. It's a great website. We've invested a ton of energy and effort and resources into revamping that. We're really excited about it. Please, if you haven't already, go check it out. The last thing for me that I think that would be important for the folks on this podcast to hear about is we do have a trade bounty program. So we actually, just to help us encourage people to replace equipment instead of repair it and help companies encourage their staff to upgrade equipment. We have a bounty program. It's an actual app, and you can just go onto it, take a picture of the old piece of equipment, a picture of the new piece of Hayward equipment that you're installing, a couple of other pieces of information, submit that to our website, and you actually get a $50 and in some cases more reward submitted directly to that installer. So what that allows the companies to do is incentivize their employees to upsell and upgrade where applicable.
Promotions.hayward.com for bounty.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Now, is that Lindsay's website?
Yes.
Is that why? Is that why she knew it so well?
Yes.
And for the bounty, we're currently doing $100 for 100 years of Hayward.
Yes.
Don't forget about that. And Kurt kind of alluded earlier about when you guys were at the hub, the training hub, you were able to drop the temperature of the water to 40 degrees. And that's because we have that new micro-channel heat-chill heat pump, which is, we have it heat only, but for just a few $100s more, you can buy heat chill as well. And that will actually allow you to get your spa down to a cold plunge temperature of 40 degrees, which is, I think it's insane, but a lot of people love it.
I'm on the same boat as you. I'm like,
but because of that, we've actually added a heat chill calculator to our website. It's under the support and tools section of Hayward.com, and you can actually go in there and put down all the dimensions of your pool, and it'll put down which heat chill unit you have, and you can see how long it'll take you to get up to temperature if you want to heat your pool or spa, or how long it'll get your spa down to 40 degrees. You can actually see that on the website as well, which is really cool. And, speaking of all the training and everything, like something that we've been volunteering Lindsay for is updating our Hayward University page to get more content on there and make it easier to navigate and find everything. So
Now I'm committed officially.
John, they threw her under the bus because they told her that they were going to do that, so she was forced to update it.
I'm on it.
You're on it. So let the record reflect on the podcast, Lindsay. So do you have a timeline for that?
Now I'm going to try to get it done this year.
Okay, this year. You heard it, everybody. This year.
Did you see how Ryan jumped on that one, John, really quick? This year. So let's see. SEP is saying, please share the app link. So send me a message, not sure.
I would tell them to go to promotions.hayward.com to get to Bounty. That would be the best location, and I think all the information would be available.
Everything else is there?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Mr. Zacharias, some final thoughts?
Man.
Which, by the way, we've been talking for almost 2 hours.
That's insane.
And did I not tell you it was going to go really quick?
Seems like the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
It's crazy because I've been working with Hayward for a long time, the entire time that I've been doing this. And it's like I've learned so much today that I had absolutely no idea about. And I think that people in general, I mean, especially me, I love a good story, right? That's something I can relate to. It gives me belief in a company or whatever I'm buying or doing business with. And I think you guys have a really good story. It's amazing. Like I keep going back to it, 100 years. I mean, that's a massive amount of time. So I just want to say, congratulations again, happy birthday, and thank you for coming on and sharing your story. And I hope that it just gives a lot of our listeners a better insight to where Hayward actually came from and how Hayward actually got to where they are today. and where they're going in the future. So thank you.
Appreciate you saying that. Thanks for the opportunity.
Mr. Flawless, final thoughts?
No, yeah.
Wait. Let me take it back. How Kurt did. JJ, final thoughts.
Oh, much better. Thank you.
Final thoughts.
There we go.
Look, tag on to what Zach was saying. I'm in the same boat. I learned a lot of things about Hayward today as well that I had no idea about. And but more importantly, I think it's very refreshing to see and to hear, as the guys and gals on the front lines that are out there every day, servicing pools, doing what we're doing. It's easy for us to sometimes villainize the big companies that are out there and think that, there's no human aspect to it, or they're not trying, and it's just a big corporation, and you know what I mean? Nobody cares about the pool pros or anything like that. But in reality, when you hear your guys' stories, first of all, thank you for coming out and taking the time to do this, to talk about Hayward, to talk about what you guys are proud of and what you've been fighting to do, and all the innovation and all the change that you guys are bringing to the industry, and especially the investment that you guys have made into educating, that really hits home to us. We've always, Edgar talked about it earlier, that has always been our number one focus, is educating and being able to create an environment where pool pros can learn and be better at what they do and become more successful. And, hearing your guys' story and the stuff that you guys are putting forth, that, sometimes gets lost in the noise of our everyday business or other things that we hear and stuff. I just think it's very, it feels great to know that, we have a partner, or we have people as big as Hayward that are actually fighting every single day to not just, who can be the most successful or who can be the most profitable company out there, but, how do we reinvest into the industry that we're all a part of? And kudos to you guys for doing that. And it's quite impressive that, you guys have been around for 100 years, and wish you guys 100 years more. And I'm looking forward to some of the new things that you guys have in store for us, and all the programs and innovations that you guys have created for the pool pros. Looking forward to working with you guys more down the road, and until next time, thanks guys for taking the time. I wish I could have been there. Edgar said that I couldn't. I wouldn't
blame me. Wow.
No room for you.
Oh.
Yeah. But till next time, no, I truly mean, and I really appreciate it. And this was very eye-opening for myself, and I'm sure for all the people that are listening to it, it'll give them a different perspective on Hayward and who you guys are and what you're trying to do. So look forward to the future. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Hey guys, really appreciate you guys coming out. I know that you guys are super, super busy, and to take the time, right? And thank you, Lindsay, for
wrangling.
Wrangling. I appreciate
it wasn't easy. I can promise you that.
It was not easy.
Trust me, I know. That's why kudos to you, Lindsay. Thank you so much for, Lindsay kind of jumped on and is now kind of our contact. And really this year we've been able to do a lot of cool things, and I appreciate your guys' support. We got a couple surprises coming out, so we have something, a special edition issue coming out for Hayward for the 100th birthday. That'll be coming out next month, so everybody stay tuned to that.
Exciting.
Some amazing stories from some of your amazing people that have worked for you guys, that everybody should kind of get out there and read. So anyways, everybody, thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Catch me and John on the Instagram Live on Wednesday. Mr. Terry Arco will be joining us this Wednesday. And I hope everybody has a great weekend. Catch you guys next week.
Bye, guys. Thank you all. Have a good one.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Pool Nation podcast, a member of the Pool Nation family. You can listen to us live every Friday here at 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. You can find us at Pool Nation or poolnationpodcast.com, on Facebook, or on Instagram at pool.nation. And to find more info about Pool Invoice, the billing software built specifically for the pool industry, go to poolinvoice.com. Before you go, this is what the pool industry has been waiting for. PoolmanUniversity.com. It's the first platform dedicated to learning the swimming pool service and repair industry. A pool service community where you can connect and find videos on business, service, water chemistry, and repairs. See you there at PoolmanUniversity.com.